the intro, I usually do a little 20-minute countdown, but we're gonna go straight live because we got our man. Big Pun is in the building.
What is up? What's up? Big Pun 207. What is up? Case, Beat on, John. What's up? What's going on, fellas?
Just let everybody know. So Gabe is usually with us. He's not here today, and also Izzy's not here today.
Yes.
So we brought him back up. Carlito's gonna be here shortly.
Cool.
We brought our man Big Pun. And Holly Horn is already in the chat. I want to give Holly a big shout out, but I cut my man Big Pun off. Let's just go back a little bit so we understand what we're talking about, and then continue with your.
So, my man John just addressed possible age limits when it comes to maybe running for office, and I agree. I think that my analogy was that being a driver, right? Like I'm for the idea that the DMV should institute random testing for drivers that are licensed, because when you first take this exam, you're not the same guy or the same person, the same driver. Okay, let me just not put a guy. Same driver that you were when you first took the test, right? So by the time you become 80, you're not the same driver you were when you were 20. Your motor skills diminish, everything diminishes. So same thing. That's what I'm saying.
That's very true.
But we were talking about it like a couple of weeks ago. I think, again, we're all going to get there one day. It's happened to us, and it's not it's not like it's true. Like there's things that it just, I don't know, like it's term limits, the age limit, all that should be part of it. Like think about it, like all these politics. Let's say I get into politics at 25, 26 years old. I could be there for 60 years.
Correct.
60 years.
Correct.
Like that's just crazy.
Right. And never have a day job. Never know what it is.
But here's another part of this that you have to go ahead and get into your head, and the way I think, right? You're not the same person now at the age you are that you were when you were 20, right? Your thoughts change, right? You become a parent, you become a taxpayer, you become a homeowner, you become whatever, and those things shape who you are. So for you to go ahead and even think that this is the same person at 60 that they were at 22, it's not true.
So my question is, when do you take the keys away? You know what I'm saying? We've always come across those person that's driving slow, or you're like, for whatever reason, you have to beep the horn on them. And then you look and see there's some old person like underneath the window, and they're like driving,
Listen, if you wanted to be a pilot, you'd have to take some kind of like diagnostic test to prove you can take off and land, right? I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, you have to get to a point where you're like, okay, we bring you in. Let's see if you can go ahead and do these things. Don't hit that cone. Try to parallel park or whatever it is. Oh, you can't do that? I'm sorry, but you're a danger to other people at this point. Am I wrong? So when you do it with an age thing, that's when it gets a little weird, right? Because then it becomes age discrimination and blah, blah, and all this other stuff.
But again, it goes back to it like, it's always like, you too young to run for president.
Right.
You too young to vote. You too young to like, so it's whatever they want. You too young to drink.
You're too young to ask for the vaccine.
whatever it is, right?
You're too young to drink. Whatever, right.
Whatever it is. So there's always that aspect of it, and people don't call it age discrimination. They're like, oh yeah, you just don't have the experience of this and that. So why can't we do it the other way around? Why can't we just be like, there's jobs out there that after a certain age, you just can't perform that job. And
we have people like Bernie Sanders who still could run laps around me probably at the age that he's at. About knowing policies.
But again, we're not gonna pick and choose because we like this person, like that person, or not. It's like, if you look at it, Bernie Sanders, yes, he could run laps around you and everything around us, whatever.
But does he know the murderers?
What the people concerned was he had some heart issues, and people just went on that like, oh, he's too old. That could happen to any of us,
right?
And people add that to it, and again, some of us are huge Bernie fans, some of us not really that much anymore,
right?
But at the end of the day, like Bernie, if he got 30 years to do what he did and he couldn't do it or whatever, just bring someone else. It's all about bringing in like
new blood.
Like, you can't have all these people for 40 years.
What would the test be though? Like relevancy to the
So before you say the test real quick, let me bring up Dianne Feinstein, right? Okay. She's over there in California, the senator, right? And they had articles in the Intercept about how her staff would explain to her something, right? They would leave, and then she would come back and say, "Hey, God, why you didn't explain this to me?" They're like, "We had a whole meeting about this. She has like." I don't want to claim it on her, but not officially. But this is what they're saying, so it's probably Alzheimer's or whatever.
Or she's just forgetful.
Well, she's up there in age,
right?
But the thing is, she's still getting elected, and then she already filed to run again.
Exactly. So that's the perfect point. Like it's like, but even like the Supreme Court judges, you know, why do we have to wait for judges to die to be like it should be a term limit as well?
Don't get me started.
There should be term limit, age limit. There's no such thing as a life. You know, there's things that work 100 years ago that don't work today, and it needs to be changed. Just because they did it a certain way 100 years ago doesn't mean we still got to keep it.
Ultimately, that's the one that gets me. That the one with the Supreme Court justices, because it's a little like, you know, whatever caption in the whole thing, and then it's interpreted as for life. This is crazy, man. These appointees are going to be around here dictating policy past my whatever kids' lifetimes that we're having. This is nuts, right? And they don't leave for a while. So till they gone.
Die.
Supposedly, now this is I don't know if this is true. Supposedly, and now I have a friend of mine who is upset. Who, you know, we were talking about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I'm like, yo, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's awesome. And that was like, yeah, but. And then what was the yeah, but? Well, the yeah, but was supposedly Obama came to her with a conversation and said, hey, listen, you're getting up there. I think you should go ahead and step down so I can appoint somebody. And she said,
who said this? Obama?
So this is the story that was told to me by my friend.
Okay.
So Obama supposedly came to her and said, listen, you're getting up there in age. Before I leave, let me go ahead and appoint somebody. And she was like, no. We ain't gonna go down like that.
No, there's a story about it. There's a story. The thing is that they according to multiple story out there, you know, we don't know if it's true or not, you know, the outlets out there, it says that she wanted it to be, you know, have a woman president, be historic. Blah blah stuff, but again, they became a political. The Supreme Court should have never been a political
tool,
appointee, and it became that, right? It's a weapon, and now it's like, you know, you see Republicans get away with murder, and here we are today. They turning away. Then you get all these people that are not even qualified to be there, and it's for life, like for life. So I always said, 18 years, get them out. Age 70, no more politicians for presidents or thing, and keep it moving.
So ironically, for the no cow zone, you guys are kind of touching a little bit on my no cow zone. And just to let Big Pun know what no cow zone means,
no cow zone,
no cancel zone. So it's supposed to be, we have a debate, and you can have whatever opinion you want. Right. And at the end of the day, we don't cancel each other until John. I like that.
Case usually. Case get canceled. Case get canceled 3 out of 4 times.
On a regular basis, you got. You know, I like to bring up these topics to get the show heated up. You know,
let it go. I like it.
Like he'll be bringing things up like Nancy Pelosi should still be the Speaker of the House.
This guy, I will never let that down. I was bringing it up as a what's devil's advocate,
right?
And then he just pins that to me. John just pins that to me every single time he brings it up.
Oh so I don't know what's going on with my camera, man.
It looks like it's working.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You look fine. You'll be all right.
You're supposed to look cuter than that. What happened?
You do not look fine.
Oh my
God. That's messed up.
The Knicks tagged me. It was the Knicks.
Yeah, baby. We got him. We sent him a bug.
That was for Trey right there. There you go. Now you're fuzzy. Right. You're fuzzy because of Trey right there.
But even without using Streamlabs, I'm still fuzzy. Straight in the Razer Synapse software.
Have you tried to change your back, like take off your background and replug?
Yeah, maybe that background. That's what's making you like.
I use this shit at work and it worked fine.
No worries. Let me bring up this topic real quick because I'm curious what you guys think. This might be a mini no cow zone right here, right?
All right, get ready. Here we go.
I came across this tweet and it says, a new public library in my area has these workstations for caregivers with babies. Maybe these are common in other places, but I've never seen anything like this before. So this is an actual library. Can you guys imagine? Right?
So wow.
My issue is we shouldn't even get to this point. Why do we need to have a crib next to a sitting desk with a computer that somebody who might needs to do their homework, they might have to do business.
Oh man,
they're so desperate that they have to bring their baby to the library and have them. You know what you guys think?
Is it desperate or just the lack of resources? Like again, we talk about being able to have internet as a necessity, but in certain cases, it's a privilege to have internet, right? Look at the pandemic with all these kids that had to go. But
yeah, you're making my point. But I want to go to Big Pun, and then I'm gonna. Whenever you guys are done, I'm gonna jump back in. Go ahead, Big Pun.
When you said caregiver, and I saw that little crib there, I thought that was a place for millennial parents, and the seat was for the kids. No,
for them to want to sleep or something for the kids.
The millennials need a safe space. They need to have a little like nap pod, you know what I'm saying, and a nap pod, and the kid needs to get on YouTube and watch videos. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody's getting canceled tonight for sure.
I just heard about the no cal zone, and I want to be part of it.
Easy's probably losing it back there in this chat. No, again, we always talk about, right? We have noticed that the library, a lot of people don't even use it or even know, right? So I think a lot of the libraries now, they're trying to modernize themselves and see, and there's opportunities there to say, if I don't have, like Mendon said, the resources, and say, well, I can't bring to the library because I have my kids. I can't bring my kids. So that's another resource that you could go in and say, you know what? You could come in, and I see what you're saying, like, like somebody that wants to do their homework, but at least they have the opportunity to say, you can put your kids here, you can still see them, you can still watch them, and you'll be able to do some work that you may not be able to do at home. So I think it's,
I like it.
I think it's
I dig it. I'm joking. I dig it. I dig it.
I think this could be a shift towards what I'm looking for, which is we should have public broadband, municipal broadband, which means that people don't have to necessarily come to the library just to get on the internet. And then 2, we should have what other countries have as a luxury that we don't, is home care, right? We should be able to have a big public, could be part of the public works system where we're trying to have jobs for all, have a system where each house can have a caregiver. Because if they're, right now we have a big issue because the biggest caregiver is not available in certain places. What is that caregiver? Schools, right? They're all remote. And now, like somebody like me, who I work at night, I would go work at night and then come home. If my kids are remote, I have to stay with my kids. And that's the time I go to sleep. Right. So we need to have a big.
But is that bad that we're looking at schools as a caregiver provider?
That's another good question to ask. That's a good question.
It's a loaded question, but getting back to the library, I'll get to that in a second. But the library, to me, I look at it as a good thing, man. I mean, think about how many single moms are out there. Maybe they can't, I don't know, do work, get on, whatever, search for a job, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's a good it's a good deal. So I was joking about that, but it's good.
Nah, Big Pun, you reminded me of a story, and then I'll give you back the mic. Where a woman, she brought her kids to her job interview. Like, let's say it was at a food court, right? Yep. And they were young. They were very, very young. Like maybe I'm trying to throw out there 4 and 7, let's just say. But she had them go sit down. Let me go do this interview. Right. When she came back, they arrested her for child endangerment. Right. This is where I think we need a big jobs program and have home care. So that all you have to do is call up, hey, I need home care for a certain amount of time. They come to the house, you go do your interview and come back home instead of criminalizing these poor mothers.
100%.
Go ahead, Big Pun. I think you was going to say something else.
Yeah, the whole thing about the school. So the school being your provider. Listen, man. I mean, it's wrap it up. It's super scary, man. I mean, you look at the stats and you look at during the pandemic, the idea that kids were remote and they probably wouldn't get a meal because they didn't go to school. I mean, you talk about caregiver. I mean, that this is part of the issue right there, right? I mean, we're a lot of places, school is where you're going to go get not just schooling, but you're going to get a meal. So, I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, and now you just said it. I was just about to make that point. Is also where you get a meal, and unfortunately, with the working remote, where kids are used to going to school, they have the breakfast a lot of times, and then they have the lunch. They're not getting either of that.
Not getting either one.
And that's where America just has a lot of. I'm in a bubble because I can't even fathom that lifestyle. But America just they're in the government is in a bubble because you got Jen Psaki saying, "Oh, go do kickboxing and drink not a martini. I forgot the other thing. If you feel stressed out about voting rights and the Congress doing stuff, just go do kickboxing."
Yeah,
come on.
And I know we gotta get. Well, probably we may wait for Carlito to get started. But I know like maybe possibly like New York City, you have this, but I still know that some school in the pandemic, or even I think they still do it. They're doing remote, just because they want to be able to keep the cafe staff working. You could go in and actually get the meals, right? So sometimes the parents, again, it goes back, like the parents may not have means to get there, or like they got to be working and stuff, but there's some part of the country still does a good job of trying to at least provide that meal. Not the healthy of them all. That's another topic, because constantly fighting for that. But
all right, let's get this show started, baby. Hey.
Funky.
What's up, everybody? This is Case Study QB, and we are the Political Junkies, back at it again. And we got a new face here. We got our guy Carlito. He's going to be back at some point, but Gabe is out. And I want to introduce the new face to Political Junkies. We got Big Pun is in the building. Say what's up. We're going to go to our guest first. Say what's up, Big Pun.
What's up, people? How you doing? Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here with all these folks. So let's get it going.
Let's get it going. Let me go around the horn. But before I do that, let me just give a quick shout out to the people in the chat, and then I'm going to go around the horn. I want to give a shout out to Holly Horn is in the chat. Mia is in the chat. And also PJ Neat, I saw you in the chat. Much love to you, my brother. And if I see anybody else. Izzy. Our guy Izzy is definitely in the chat. We miss you, brother. We miss you.
We
much love to you.
What's up?
We too many people.
Yeah, let's go around the horn now. Bendone, what's up, my man?
What's up? What's up? Happy Monday.
What's that? What's that you got behind you? What is that?
I don't know.
Oh, that's trash.
Wall?
You got to throw that out.
Wall?
That's trash, right? You got to throw that out.
Oh man, what an epic football weekend we had. That's a whole
my heart
show.
Attack.
Yeah, that was a very high anxiety shows. But let's go to John. How you doing, my man?
What's up? It's another Monday in Virginia.
What's up with your governor, man? What have your governor done
recently? That dude is getting sued. He's getting sued by like 9 out of like 13 county or something like that in Virginia, some big ones. So the school is suing him because he put an executive order on mandated by banning the masks, of like saying that parents get to choose if they want to send school. But there's a constitutional right, because it says, I think in the Virginia Constitution, something like that along those lines, that says that they need to follow CDC guidance. So now that's what the governor did first day. That was his executive order, and that dude every day is something new with him. But and I think the Republicans, they took over the House, and it's a mess. Like they try to shut down the minimum wage. I think recently today I was talking about they were trying to what was it? They were saying that the prosecutor or something like that, should it be like some gender gap paid, and they were like, no, they shut that down. It's like this. You want to see what you see Texas and you see Virginia is what we're going to be in the next like 2 or 3 years.
Oh my God, I think
so. Listen, Virginia got voted real quick, and I don't want to take too much. Virginia,
go ahead,
Virginia got voted back to back best state for businesses in back-to-back years. So 2020, 2021, whatever. The guy came in first day and said, Virginia is one of the worst states for businesses, and we are going to Virginia was shut down for business, and we're going to open it up. And I'm like, who tells this guy this thing? Like, literally, it's out there.
Republicans don't care. They say whatever.
He has memory problems.
They say the thing, they talking about this whole critical race theory that was never been taught in Virginia, and that's what they want to run on. This dude's like, when they talk about him being a mini Trump, like, but that's how bad how the Democratic candidate is. Like, this guy beat him because they put for us, and they still want to kind of voter shame people and say, oh, you know, like this is where we are today because these people didn't vote it.
John, Russia didn't interfere with the governor election. You sure Russia didn't come in and, you know, mess things up? That's how he got elected.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like,
but
I want to give, you know, when a Republican wins, there's never nothing wrong with her. Like,
right. Never interference.
I want to give love to Rafael Rodriguez is in the chat. Also, PJ Chris is in the chat. Much love, and Harish is putting gobbledygook in the chat, but no, much love to you as well. Carlito, what's up, my man?
Yo, man, the Knicks, they try to hack me, the Knicks fans, but you ain't gonna keep me down, baby.
Bing bong.
Down.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
Yeah. All right, let's get this party started. I'm going to bring up this real quick. Let me know if you can hear this. Let me play this.
All right, hang on. Don't share. Oh, okay, rewind.
You guys have been trying to convince me that I am Bernie Sanders. I'm not. I like him, but I'm not Bernie Sanders. I'm not a socialist. I'm a mainstream Democrat, and I have been.
Well, I'm not Joe Biden. I like him, but I'm not Joe Biden. I'm a progressive who believes that the Democratic Party should make it clear that we are prepared to take on powerful special interests.
You guys
oh man!
Trying to...
So that was a clip from the count, but I wish they would have let it go a little bit further on Bernie because he was gonna get me fired up over there because I don't know if you guys saw, but that was one of the big clips from his speech that he made or his press conference, which was apparently is the longest press conference, was like an hour and something minutes. And one of the things they asked him, and he said, "Oh, I'm not Bernie Sanders," but that's the problem. That's why your polling is so low. Because, you know, Bernie's out there. He's a fighter for the people. He would have did some executive orders that we've talked about already with his canceled student loan debt. He would have been popular if he had the power of the presidency. But this guy...
he would have been popular if he would actually ran a good campaign.
Well, if he would have won, you talking about if he would have won?
If he would have ran a good campaign, it wouldn't be like, oh, Joe is my friend.
Because he's still popular now. He's one of the most popular senators right now. But I hear you about the campaign.
What does that matter if you're not like, you know, if you're just going to give in to them for nothing?
You know, listen.
Go ahead.
All right. I'm, you know, for on a lot of things, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I got to tell you this. It doesn't matter what either side says. It's good for them. A guy like Bernie is good for them to go ahead and keep away. He can keep him around, but you can't keep him somewhere where he's going to do something. And that's for both sides, that it benefits both sides. So you see right now what's happening. You know, you got the right embraces the extreme right like nothing, but the left cannot embrace the extreme left. Why is that? That's the question you have to ask. Why does he have to brand him as a socialist? Why can't he just, you know what I'm saying? So it's sort of that kind of infighting, I think, that's on the left, where they don't accept everybody, that's going to ultimately lead us to being where we are now. Nothing's going to get done.
And the sad part is they call Bernie the extreme left, but if you look at the world and where the world is in their ideology, he's like a moderate.
Agree. But for us here, you know, where Virginia's being voted the best place to do business 2 years in a row, where you have to leave the state of Texas in order to go ahead and make a decision with your own self. I mean, this is craziness, right? So that's where we are, man. You know,
Virginia is also trying to do that. You're gonna have to leave Virginia to just make.
Not shocking.
So I'm gonna go to this next video, but just to give Carlito a heads up, we're gonna go to articles after this next clip. All right. Cool. All right.
We should be.
You have a.
Let me rewind. Okay.
There seems to be a lot of public highlighting of Democratic division.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier. You weren't crazy about having to air some of this dirty laundry, but it's happening. What's happening to Senator Sinema? Is this healthy for the party? Having a state party, her own state party, censure her. Like I said, most people will look at what they're censuring her over a disagreement on tactics, not on the issue.
Yeah, I just don't come from a school where you're constantly airing dirty laundry. Like there are really big divisions in Washington right now, period. Democrat, Republican, within each party. But I just don't believe that the way that you get back at other people is by putting that on air, airing that publicly. So I don't love that. I also don't think that, if we disagree with someone, that's a normal part of governing. People just want people to be responsible. So I don't love it. But I also, that's not what people in my district are worrying about.
Do you question the motives? Question the motives of Senators Manchin and Sinema for their disagreements?
No, I don't. I think someone once told me when I started Congress, you can question someone's policy choices, don't question their motives, because we're all here, I hope, to do the right thing, or we should be.
You have
Yeah, how naive is this person?
Well, the school that she come from is the loser school.
Why you stealing? Why you stealing my meme, son?
You gave them to me. You gave them to me.
Wait, you own those?
He's got a copyright.
Copyright.
Like that. I want to know what school.
That too. Damn, it's like that.
I want to know what school she's coming from, because that's definitely the loser school. Because if they continue to do what they do, there's never going to be any. That's the tactic they're going to use.
Oh my God. Yo, I don't know how many times I play the same thing to this guy every damn show and on chat. It's a strategy. They don't want to win. They don't want to. It's two sides of the same coin. Man, how many times? You can't expect Democrats to be progressives, period. All right? You got to stop that. They're not trying to win like that. They'd rather lose to a Republican than win to than let somebody like Bernie win on their side. Okay, this is just like that. That's why every time there's like a progressive person, they throw money at the establishment candidate to beat the progressive, whoever it is, even if they know that the progressive has a better chance to win in the general election.
I think they set up the system to do that, because you hear what she said. She's a fairly new politician, right? She's been there, I think, at least one term now. And actually, she used to be CIA, so that's another interesting part about this. And basically, when you come, she said, when you come into the system, they say, oh, don't question people's motives. Yet we know that Congress can legally do insider trading, so they can talk. They hobnob with their donors. They have a close relationship with their donors. So what you mean we can't question your motives? It's legalized bribery.
Well, what district is she from? Because she says my constituents are not. They don't want. That's not what they were here for, and they don't like that motive or something like that. Where's she from?
Let me see if it was at the very beginning.
There seems to be public.
Damn, I thought I just saw it. I don't even know. I'll let you know. Right. But let's get into the articles. My man Carlito's rundown. Let me know which article you want to talk about. Actually, we could play that video too. I'm sorry. Let me see. Her name was Alyssa. Let me just look this up real quick because I'm curious.
Slotkin. Let's see.
Alyssa Slotkin. And then she's United States representative from
hate this.
Michigan.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Whatever.
So you want to play this video? You want me to play this video, Carlito?
Nah, you don't need to play the video, man.
Okay.
But we talk about the story real quick.
Okay.
It's called Atlanta Woman Warning Others After She Says Her Deed Was Stolen and Home Turned Down. Case, you got that other link I sent you?
I have another link.
From Stylecaster. No, Stylecaster regarding this story. So basically, if you guys seen a movie in Netflix called I Care a Lot, this is kind of what happened. Yes. This is basically what kind of happened to her. She had her home. She owned it outright. And somebody stole her deed right under her. Because she elderly, took advantage of her, went to court. She came home one day to bulldozers because she lives in a historical area that's very coveted right now in Atlanta. And you can't get anything there. They want to buy out the old homes and build new fancy condos or fancy houses in those spots. Right. And she just came home one day, bulldozer. They're like, well, somebody is right here. They had like her grandma's name that has happened to be her name and all kinds of crap. So the movie I Care a Lot is basically about that. And it was based on real stories about, they basically go to a judge and say, look, this person is mentally unfit, they're declining, dementia, whatever. You got to appoint somebody to be, their power of attorney, blah, blah, blah. They get a doctor to fake some paperwork saying that she's declining in health. Next thing you know, the judge gives them their power of attorney. They sell anything. They sell everything, put them in a home, and they done.
That's crazy.
I saw that movie. It's pretty good.
Is it good? I saw it, but I didn't watch it.
It's a really cool movie.
It's eye-opening.
It's interesting.
Stuff like that. You wouldn't think people have the morality to do, but they're just codeless.
Capitalist system, the way.
No. I mean, taking advantage of old people is something that's been out there for a long time, and that's basically what the movie is all about. It's these people that take advantage of you, and because you have things, and just separating you from your stuff. But that's sad, man. I mean, who owns the house now? Do they mention that?
Yeah, the man, it's somebody else, not her.
But just but not like a person. But do they say how they acquired the home? Like, do they have? Is there like a rebuttal in this? Like, what happened?
Is it in the blockchain?
And fight it out.
Is it in the blockchain?
Fight it out.
Yeah, it says the operator. So she went there, and somebody was about to bulldoze or was bulldozing the house.
Crazy.
The operator told her that he had been hired by a company who recently bought the home from a woman named Sinema Willis, and then her name is Linda Willis, which is really close, but basically somebody just
could have been a family member.
Yeah, could have been
maybe somebody who had power of attorney. She didn't know it. Maybe something was. Who knows? And then if you watch the movie, that's kind of like how they get you, right? They get somebody to go ahead and say, you've lost your faculty. They legally go ahead and have someone take care of you, and while they're taking care of you, they separate you from your assets, and that's basically how it goes down.
And then what? She's homeless now, or in the movie, what happened?
You gotta watch the movie.
Okay, I'll check it out.
You gotta watch the movie.
There's a twist in the movie.
There's a twist in the movie as to what happens. But
see, now that makes me even more intrigued. So I gotta check this movie out.
Yeah, all right, Carlito, she wasn't a regular old lady, man. The message old lady.
You want to move on, or what you want to do?
Yeah, you want to go? Let's go to the Georgia joint, man. Still in Georgia, man.
Silly Georgia.
Silly
Georgia.
Well,
this one's not right.
Yeah, that's not right. Georgetown's lead census appeals. So this has to do with a couple of things we talked about. The census is very important. Basically, money gets appropriated, federal money, depending on how many people you have in a district, blah, blah, blah. If you remember, the Republicans were telling people, don't file your census, don't do anything like that. They're just trying to get you information, all kinds of conspiracy theories. Now, these towns in Georgia are finding out that they're already small to begin with. They're finding out their population by the census sometimes is like a third less than what they thought. So that's a lot of money that they're losing out on. So that's one way that they got, nipped in the butt. The other way is that these are towns, well, not all of them, these are towns that have prison populations. So it's towns, rural towns, they have, let's say 30% black people, but they happen to be the people that are in the jail. They have no representation whatsoever. And then because of COVID, they couldn't get a lot of people counted in there. They couldn't get the jail people to be counted in the census the way they usually are. And that caused them to lose money. So I'm kind of glad now because of that, because of the people that are there, they're using the people in the prison population to boost their town population and get more money. But those people are not represented. They don't get anything back. So I'm glad about that, man. Forget them.
Yeah, that sucks. Oh, there you go. I care a lot.
Yeah, there you go. I saw in the private chat, but I just want to bring it up real quick. That I will be checking this movie out. I will be checking it out.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, so the county with the census issues, you can imagine it was 82.4% Trump, 16.3% Biden.
So what's going to happen?
All right.
Well, they appealed it. They're appealing it, and that's rare that anything happens with it. But they're actually appealing it. Two of them are appealing it, so we'll see.
Like, sorry, you didn't do your census.
That's what.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Basically.
All right.
All right.
What else?
Let's go one more story. Let's go to the BX.
BX.
Yes.
Bronx DA dismisses over 100 felony cases tied to corrupt former NYPD detective Joseph Franco. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, long story short, dude was crooked. They found out they got to throw out a whole bunch of cases. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That is pretty much it.
And he was an undercover cop too.
Huh?
He was an undercover cop. And so that makes it even worse to a certain extent, because you can really go undercover with anybody. You can say, I'm undercover, you got a girlfriend. You got your daughter and she has a boyfriend. You want to get revenge, or you want to get back in, like, oh, I'm gonna go undercover and just put this guy in jail. Like, that's another question I want to ask y'all. Eric Adams wants to bring back the plain clothes cops. What you guys think about?
Well, I think is it something he stated prior, or because of the whole 5 shootings that happened in the past?
As part of a reason to crime going up. But let's go ahead.
So here's the deal. Let's go ahead and not dismiss the idea that the 110th mayor of this city used to be a police officer for over 20 years. 22 years in the trenches. He retired as a captain. Okay, so let's just start with that. But when he ran his campaign, he did say all the things, all the buzzwords that have to do with current criminal justice, buzzwords. So we're talking about sensitivity, compassionate policing. He appointed the city's first Black female commissioner. So, and she is part of the same thing. But what does he do? Well, he brings back street crimes. The street crimes unit, you may know them because they're infamous. They cost the city a lot of money, aside from a lot of heartache. They're the guys that shot Amadou Diallo in the vestibule. They're the guys that, so here's the thing. So if you're a police officer and you're part of that ilk, you say that they were effective because they took guns off the streets, right? But also as part of this thing, hand in hand, was also stop and frisk. Stop and frisk was, deemed unconstitutional. But who were the people that were getting pulled over and stopped and frisked? A great majority of the folks, 80%, over 80%, were Black and brown people. Maybe it was 7 or 8% that were not Caucasian. So I've been telling people the one thing I've been telling people is get ready, because this guy's a cop, and you got to watch forget what he says and whatever. Just watch what happens, because eventually the way the city is right now, and the uptick in crime, not 100% due to whatever, but maybe COVID, maybe whatever it is, I don't know, right? There's been an uptick in crime in certain areas, but I believe that what's going to happen is it's going to come back. It's going to come back. Stop and frisk is going to come back. I think that the street crimes is going to come back, and I think that a lot of the people that were in favor of that, who saw that there was we got guns off the streets. Yeah, but
if they bring back stop and frisk, it would have to be on the low. Like, they'll have to just make it back legal and just start doing it.
On the low. This dude's not running anything on the low.
I don't know if you've been watching New York City lately, but they don't do nothing on the low.
It's not popular to be like, we don't bring back stop and frisk.
This dude's like, I want to get paid in Bitcoin. I want to do this. He's doing everything in the open.
Well, when you got a pension that's worth over $1 million, you can try that. It's okay. All right, you know what I'm saying? It's like he's got, plus whatever investments you have. But yeah.
Let me ask you this question. Yeah. Let me ask you this question. Let me know if I'm getting off topic.
Tell me.
Go ahead.
New York being such like a progressive city state, why quote unquote, right? When you look at it,
right,
it's progressive. Easy always mentioning how progressive they are. Why are they so bad at picking mayors?
So lately, I don't know if you know what happened, but what they did was, for the first time, when it came to electing a mayor, they used a new system where they went ahead and they were. It wasn't just the 2 major candidates that were going. Right. So they did right, exactly. So to me, it's cool because in a sense, it gives people that possibly wouldn't have a shot an opportunity to be heard, but that's all you were going to get. because you were going to be heard, and you weren't necessarily going to be elected. You think, man, your boy Yang came in there, right? And Yang was like, well, listen, everybody should get $1,000 a month off the rip. And we're like, hold on there, homie. We'll slow down. We're progressive, but we ain't that progressive. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
oh, that's Izzy.
He's in the building. He said, did somebody say New York? And Eric
New
Adams.
York in the building.
He wants to defend his boy.
No, but hang on.
All I gotta do is say Eric Adams.
Listen. All we got. I'm a wait and see guy. He's saying all the things, but I've been down this road before, and in my opinion, I'm gonna wait and see. He was a cop. He ultimately is a cop. The police right now, there's a big thing going on in the city. There's an uptick in crime, and there's a lot of things that have to do with bail reform, right? So they're shutting down Rikers because it's a problem. They're going to go to community like jails right now. That's going to be a thing. So we'll see how it all plays out. It sounds cute, but just recently, a few days ago, there was an incident where a rookie police officer was killed in New York City. He happened to be from my neighborhood. He was Dominican. He was 22 years old.
Oh, really? Yeah, I saw that story.
He's from Inwood Uptown, and he's 22 years old. He went into a domestic dispute situation with his partner. His partner's like 27. He recently became a police officer. He went in. It turns like the woman who called her son. It was the son was the person that had the problem. She had the problem with, and he shot the kid. And I went to visit my mom this weekend, and there was like the funeral home is near my mom's house, and it was just cops and firefighters everywhere.
Wow.
It was
and his partner's in critical condition as well.
Partner's in critical condition. The guy who did it the first stories coming out was that he was killed, but he was critically injured too. So he's alive. But look, this is the mayor's facing all this stuff. And as a former cop, and I want to know what's going to go down. I want to see how he's going to respond, because he has to have the cops back, but he has to have the public's back. So we're going to see where that's going to go. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. So I mean, I might sound very naive, but it seemed like, is it just me, or does cop killings doesn't happen that often? Like I would, once a month, something like a cop would get injured like that, but I guess not.
I think there's shootings. I think there's incidents. I don't know if there's actual straight out. So when a police officer gets killed, you see it on the news. I'll put it like that.
Okay. I mean, they blow it up, yeah. But as far as like dangerous jobs is way low.
Right.
As far as being like
exactly. Right. I think a fisherman, is higher up.
Commercial fisherman on the Bering Strait, bigger shot.
So
bigger shot, but still a dangerous situation. I laugh because I watch whatever Deadliest Catch, but I'm saying
Deadliest Catch,
but this is not a joke. I mean, it's sad. I mean, the kid's 22. He was married and had a kid. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Really? I didn't know that part of it.
Yes, sir.
Oh my God,
that's
terrible.
So you think about it. So I mean, it's not a joke. I mean, you and I, we have friends on the job. It's a tough job. And I get it, but we're very critical of it when it goes wrong. But but at the end of the day,
I'm a little extra sad about it, because being a young guy, those are the ones that have the chance to be, one of the good apples. You know what I'm saying? They're not somebody that's been there for a long time already, entrenched in the system and the union life and whatever. So, the younger cops are the ones that could give somebody hope that they could do the right thing.
And I think he also, if you read, I think his Facebook post, in one of the posts when he made it through the academy, the
letter
was his dream,
right?
To do it, to change. You could tell,
right.
Obviously, you could tell that he meant well. Obviously, the institution, you never know. Once you find, he was pretty. He was very sad.
He's too young. I mean, he turns out that he was one of my mom's neighbors. He worked at a pharmacy as a kid. Not in the neighborhood, people knew him because he worked at the pharmacy and stuff. And then he went to be a police officer. Sad stuff.
Yeah, that's real tough. So is that a question let me ask you, Big Paul, what you think about the slogan, defund the police, or even about what it means? What you think?
I'm glad you asked. I think that at the end of the day, I think that it's a horrible choice of words. You know what I'm saying? It's like the defunding part is the thing. Nobody wants to defund the police, man. Nobody wants. I know, and I know people, friends of mine, some people that are completely left. They're like, "Oh, we shouldn't have a police department." You've lost your mind. You've really lost your mind. We shouldn't have a police department. No, I don't have a problem. I should have. I don't have.
I smell no calzone coming up. Hold on. Go ahead, Big Pun. Go ahead.
Listen. The story is, I think it's a horrible choice of words. I think that it's a reallocation of whatever funds in order to go ahead and put it towards something that would be community policing or have social programs or add to the police. But it's not actually defunding. I think the word choice is horrible. And I think that they have to go ahead and rethink the whole thing. But I understand it ultimately what the principle of it is. It's just the word choice is bad.
You know, the thing I got to say about that is that even if you're right, there's never going to be a word choice that's good enough for the people that want to stop it. Because no matter what you call anything, they're going to bring it down. I mean, everybody's a socialist. Everybody's a communist, no matter what you think. You know, you say, you know, reallocate you say, I don't know. Think of anything that you think is palatable. They're gonna say this is some kind of CRT or something. You know, they'll come up with something.
Well, if you think about it, the way I go ahead and the analogy I always use is like, you know, you ever see companies go bankrupt all the time? Well, this company declares bankruptcy. Well, does that mean you're really broke? Nah, that doesn't really mean that. That means you're going structuring debt. That means you're going ahead and seeking protection from your debtors. That doesn't mean you're broke. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. It's the choice of words that goes ahead and makes you go.
They could have said restructure the police. The pushback would have been the same. The pushback would have been the same though.
No, but again, you have to be able, when you come up with this choice of word, you have to be smart enough knowing that the Republicans are going to, but you should have a way to like defend it.
I mean, I agree with you, but also it won't matter. Right? I mean, we can agree that the wording could have been more palatable to, you know, suburbia or whoever, but the pushback would have been the same.
But the problem, like we talk about all the time, like, you know, when you start from the center, you know, Gabe says this all the time, we say this all the time. When you start from the center, where's the negotiation going to go? To the right. So if you don't start with defund the police, if you start with restructure or whatever, reform, first of all, it's vague. It's too vague. It doesn't mean anything. And second of all, when you actually go through with it, it's going to be like, oh yeah, well, you know, we hired a few more cops and we gave them a little more training.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody said abolish the police in the chat. Where was that? Abolish the police. Here we go. Sterling W.
Yeah.
Abolish the police all the way to the left.
You know, and we could go no calzone on that because I told you guys I spent a little bit of time thinking about it. I was like, okay, when do I really need police, and what do they really prevent? Okay, and when you think about it, the only time, you know, that like there's very few. You could do with a lot less cops, and a lot of the times what they do is investigating, you know, after the fact type deal. You need basically a small unit, call it like the SWAT or whatever, to come into like a, you know, like domestic situation where something where there's like an active shooter, something like that. That's when you need somebody to come with guns. Most of the other time, you don't really need them. So it could be very small. It could be minimized.
So how many police officers do you think there are in the city of New York? Let's start with that.
Probably like 30,000.
How many people are there in the city of New York?
Was it like 6 million?
Right.
How many?
And you're saying there should be less?
What's the budget of those people?
I'm saying less of the regular cops. It's like less of the regular the guys with the guns going to you.
You're saying less armed response, more just response.
Yeah.
So you're saying, all right, so let's just say I play your game, right? And I take half of the police officers on the force now, I take away their weapons, I give them training, and I go, listen, from now on, you guys should be able to diffuse a lot of situations without weapons. And if you really get outgunned or outmanned, then you call in the guys with the guns, right? Mm-hmm. And you think, now, do you believe that that'll work out eventually? Let me ask you.
Yes.
Why?
Eventually.
Because why wouldn't it?
Well, I'm playing devil's advocate, right?
Okay,
Because I remember, and the reason I'm saying that is I just needed to explain because again, the people that argue the same way, right? You know, the people that say, well, if there's 40,000 cops, we need like 80,000. We need 100,000. And then it becomes like an armed sort of occupation.
Right. Well, the way that I explain it is what I just said. Most of the time when they come into a situation, they're not necessary. You know, they're escalating instead of de-escalating. You know, a lot of the times, you know, if it's even when it's come to like traffic stops, a lot of traffic stops, they don't even need to matter. You just send them a ticket to their house and be done. You know,
walk up to your car with hand on holster, you know, like that, to Carlito's point, escalating. And you think about this, Pun, like, you know, think about the UK. I know the citizens out there don't have guns, which is the way it freaking should be.
Mostly, right?
I mean, neither do the cops. How do they de-escalate all the time?
Well, they do have weapons, but not all the time.
Not guns. The UK cops don't have guns.
There's some.
But there was a funny. There was a story once where there were a bunch of cops here from, I think it was like Sweden or Norway or somewhere.
They took down that guy.
And they took down that dude on the subway, and they were like, "These guys didn't even have weapons." But I guess. But I guess.
And they didn't beat him to a bloody pulp. They treated him like a human being. Even after they detained him, they treated him like a human being. I mean, where is that treatment here? Where is that action here?
The problem with here is like shoot first, ask question later.
Yeah, the cop mentality here is one where they are aggressive and they think they're above the law. They think like even talking to them, even anything is disrespectful to them, and that's a license to do whatever they want to you.
My thing is this, right? I mean, there's going to be people that you're going to be able to reach, and there's going to be people that you're not going to be able to reach, and I get that part, right? When you show up to a situation and you don't have a weapon, especially especially America, right? I mean, people have weapons. This whole country has been based on the idea that everybody has weapons. We have a right to have weapons, and they fight for that, right? So here's the deal. I show up to a domestic, I have no weapons, or I show up to a traffic stop, and you see I don't have a gun, so now you're like, oh, he doesn't have a gun. I'm just gonna go ahead and talk whatever I want to him. I'm gonna say whatever I want to him.
It's all right.
Yeah, but it's a thing of like, at the end of the day, there's some type of authority there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I don't, and that's all it is. It's just like, all right, listen, and then you're right. I've seen cops where it's like all they want you to do is move your car, and they don't even approach you right? They don't even approach you the right way. Excuse me, sir. I'm gonna need you to move your car because whatever. I'm clearing the fire lane. Mm-hmm. No, how you approach? Hey, move. Get that thing out of here. And it's like, excuse me, I don't want to hear your business. I don't want to hear anything. Just move. So it's that kind of a thing.
Yeah, where, you're talking back to me?
Yeah, it's that kind of thing to begin with, right? Where it's like, it's always on the offensive, right? It's always on the offensive. And that's part of being on the street. After a while, this kid, poor kid, he's 22 years old. Who knows? Maybe a lot of it had to do with his naivete and maybe his rookiness that got him to react the way he did. Who knows, right? I don't know. But maybe other cops wouldn't have shown up like that. You know what I'm saying? They would have been like, yo, you sit down here, you sit here, you tell me what's going on, because it's like a thing where like, if you don't establish that, then that it becomes a problem.
Well, the thing is,
Big Pun, so do you know what happened in that situation? I'm just curious. Is that where you're talking from, or?
No, from what I understand, the kid went into the kid went into the home. The guy was barricaded in the back in a room, and he went to the back room, and the guy shot him.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't like a thing where like, instead of having the guy come out or whatever it was, I don't know what could have happened if it was different. I don't know. I don't know training. I don't know what happens, but you know, a lot of times it all depends. Like I said, but to me, going back to the idea that it's the approach, man. It's the approach. It's the idea of how
I think maybe having that gun is one of the reasons why they have that approach, because they think they could.
It works both ways, and it works horribly. I think that it works horribly in the sense that, you know, you use that as a thing of like, I'm bigger, I'm this and that, I'm going to tell you what to do, and then you know, there's no other way to, you know, what the ultimate threat is with these guys, right? The ultimate threat is I have a weapon and you don't, so this is not going to end right for you. You know what I'm saying?
Just because we're on the topic, I'm going to show this video real quick. I came across this the other day. It's only a minute.
I got high. Front door's open. I'll get it. I got it, Jeff. I'm gonna go to the left side. Police department, search warrant! police department search warrant. Hey, fuck. Coming through, fire. Go. Police department. Search warrant. Get down. With you. Need one. With you. What I'm trying to count, sir. Up, hun. Get up. On top of your head. Put your hands on top of your head. I got it. We need one in the back. Need one.
Handcuffed the little girl.
Need one in here. Need one back here, guys.
So the story with this is the cops raided the wrong house.
It's happened before.
Yeah.
But there's no consequences.
Right.
It's like, oh, I'm sorry, we made a mistake. Like,
that girl's traumatized for life, guaranteed.
Oh, is that a 9? I thought it was a 6. My bad. It's 166 or 169. My bad.
I mean, we forgot about
thank God they didn't kill her.
Breonna Taylor. Remember that?
Imagine if that little girl start running. Imagine that little girl start running and doesn't put it like her head down.
So
like right now, there was a settlement in Chicago from elderly woman that the cops went to the wrong house again, and she was in the middle getting dressed, and she was there held naked for a long time.
Right.
And didn't even let her get dressed.
And they're paying for them.
You know? So the thing is, like, when cops do wrong, if there was accountability, it wouldn't be such a big deal because you know that the bad apples are getting kicked out. But they're not. They're protected. They let them stay, and that's the problem. If you had, because they say just a few bad apples. Well, what's this whole saying? The bad apples spoil the bunch. You know what I'm saying?
End of the day, it's a culture thing, guys.
Yeah, it's an institution.
It's the culture and the institution of the police. It's don't snitch on me, and it'll be okay, right? Don't break the blue wall of silence. It'll be all right. We don't snitch on each other. We protect each other. At the end of the day, everybody goes home. And that it's the culture behind that that allows whatever else to go down.
That's why they call it like the biggest gang in the world, right? Like they just
and we know that there are gangs in California, the cops that are actually killing people in order to get like their brand or whatever.
So at the end of the day, the situation is so that I think that what I heard was that we're looking to, because of Breonna Taylor, that we're looking to outlaw the no-knock warrant. So what you saw there was a no-knock warrant. They just go in, they announce themselves, but they don't have to go. They'll just bust in, and because they got a warrant, they can go ahead and go inside. Now they're saying that they're going to go outlaw the no-knock, where they have to knock or they have to go ahead and say they have to let you come to the door and whatever it is. I don't know.
See, what's interesting is I wish we had a cop to explain why you would even need that in the first place. Because apparently there's legitimate reasons why you want to have them to give them the ability to do a no-knock, but I can't imagine the situation.
I think that they have to go and get to a no-knock from a judge. Like a judge has to have enough evidence in front of him to go ahead and say, okay, now you can go ahead and go in there because you have enough evidence that I think that something is going on in there that shouldn't be. I think that's how it goes down, right? But in general, right now, case if the cops knocked on your door, you don't have to open the door. You don't have to let them in. You could be like, oh, well, what's up? Well, can I please see a warrant? That's the whole story. Yeah. But because of the idea that they've probably casing your place, they know you've been selling whatever, or people have been coming in and out. They're like, oh, we got enough here to let me know that I got to go inside. And that's
I mean, they say, you want to go in there quickly to not give them a chance to, flush the drugs down the toilet or something. Right. But if you were a little patient, you could catch them when they come outside, when they go to the store, whatever. I mean, there's a million scenarios. At the end of the story, even if you have a proper procedure to do things, when somebody does bad, they got to be held accountable, and then the general public is not going to be as upset at the cops if you know that most of the time they're acting in good faith.
I wonder what's going to happen if we could legalize all drugs, meaning regulate them. The hard drugs you don't you don't sell it at the street corners, but instead of putting people in jail, you have not counseling, but they go to that reform place.
They are,
what are the cops going to do after that?
Well, it's funny because they got a couple of places now that they opened in the city, in New York City, where I think they're gonna, you're able to go ahead and go in and use. There's somebody there that that monitors you while you use, and make sure that you don't OD, or if you OD, they give you the drug that brings you back, whatever that is. But the point is that, you know, like, it's worked in Europe, you know. So I mean, so Europe has been way ahead of this for a long time. They've been giving away needles. They've been decriminalizing things, and we're the only ones that make money off this stuff. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah, and that's the reform.
You know, so that's the thing. It's the profit motive in a lot of these things make it so we can't have nice things. You know, if you don't have people going to jail, what are the prisons going to do? Who are they going to keep in there?
These private prisons.
We've seen cases where judges are putting people in jail on purpose because they get kickbacks from the private prisons.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. A lot of kids went to jail.
Yeah, so we know there's a profit motive. Now, there's a profit motive. You know,
always
you gotta look at it. You gotta look at it twice, man. So
and it just, like, real quick, I know, like, because I don't want to make it sound like we trying to, like, just always be all about against cops, right? We know the institution is bad. We're not, like, because there's a lot of knuckleheads out there too, right? There's a lot of people that just like they just they don't need to, like, go extra, right? But the cop needs to earn the public trust again, and the reason why they haven't is because it's been the same since the institution was created. So, and I think in the chat somebody says, you know, a lot of the cops have that mentality of, like, thank you for your service type things. And if you want the public to change your perception, you have to change. You have to show the public, like, we are trying, or, like, they just don't care. They're like, oh, nope, we don't want to give immunity away. We don't want to go, like, you know, like, if you go and say we're going to end qualified immunity, the public may find now a little bit more trust. It's like, oh, at least they're taking a step. Oh, okay, now they're getting rid of that. Oh, this cop is getting fired without the pension. But they ain't doing anything of that. It's like, you protect me, I get away with everything, and then you also want the public to, like, have that trust, and it's just hard.
I had a friend of mine who's on the job tell me that no one would ever take the job if you took away the qualified immunity.
That's fine with me.
There's no way that you would take the job, in the sense that why would I come onto a job, right, where I'm gonna mess something up and I make a mistake, and all of a sudden then I'm the guy that's to blame, but nobody's gonna protect me, nobody's gonna go ahead and represent me, no one's gonna go ahead and
I'm gonna be held accountable.
Correct.
Isn't it you call yourself New York finest? You're supposed to be finest. You're not supposed to be making those type of mistakes.
All right, hold that thought, guys.
Well, I mean, under your leadership, we really were in one of the safest cities, the safest city in the country, in New York, when you were the commissioner of the NYPD, Ray. What would be your advice to tell the officials in New York to try to reverse these terrible numbers? Murder at a 25-year high?
I think they have to reverse some of the restrictions that I mentioned. For instance, qualified immunity as a defense, basically a good faith defense that police officers were able to use, has been eliminated by the city council here as a defense. Lots of other restrictions. So unless those things are eased, I think we're going to see police still hesitant to engage. They're worried about their family's well-being. They're worried about their career, and there's so far been very little support from politicians in this city.
What you guys think about your man Ray Kelly?
How many? And maybe I'm naive, right? Because I didn't learn about qualified immunity up until recently. But, like, who goes recruiting and says, "Oh yeah, you can become a police officer because of this"?
No, but you don't. No, but the story is
not to you, but in general, right? It's like they don't teach them about that till, like, later.
Well, that's the people that are the used to get bullied and they want to become cops later to get some power.
You know,
there's some of those.
It's with every. I mean, think about how much is paid out when there's a mistake, right? When there's a tragedy, the quote unquote tragedy, right? And it's like that. So the fear is, oh yeah, you know, we don't have this. Then all of a sudden, it's like, you know, I don't know that any cop is going to make a mistake and all of a sudden, all right, so you owe us $7 million.
But it's not about mistakes, Pun. It's about qualified immunity protects you even when the cop broke the law themselves. And that's the part that irks me, because if it was a mistake or whatever, the courts will find it, and they already get a lot of benefit of the doubt. Cops get a lot of benefit of the doubt. But even in cases when it's violating somebody's civil rights, qualified immunity still protects them. And that's the part that, it's not right.
So in other words, let's say a guy like the guy in Minnesota, right? What's his face?
Fernando Castillo?
No, that was another guy. That's the guy who got shot next to his girlfriend. We're talking about George Floyd, the guy who killed George Floyd, right?
Right.
So he's I don't know, he's in his 40s, I think, whatever it is, right? He just got sentenced to a certain amount of jail time. Let's just say it's 25 years, right? So he can get out when he's let's say he does 10, 15 years, good behavior and all that other stuff. And by the way, he's going to do it in protective custody. You understand what I'm saying to you? He's going to go in there. He's not going to go in the general population like me and you, okay? He's going to go to a part of the prison where he's going to be in protective custody because he was a former police officer. So let's just start with that. Then let's get to the other part where you could still get out of prison, right? And he could still benefit from his pension even after this. Yeah. So the story is what should happen? If you make a mistake like this, should you go ahead and not have your pension when you get out of prison?
I mean,
right? Should you be in protective custody while you're in prison?
That wasn't a mistake.
Well, and this is the thing.
But his partners that sit there and looked at it, right? They should be held liable to a certain thing. You don't make mistakes. You're just sitting there and stuff and just there. So qualified immunity protects you from all of that.
Listen, a cop is like, I don't understand the job where, you could get away with not knowing your job. You know what I'm saying? Even if the cop doesn't know the law themselves and they break them, whatever, they still could do whatever. And it's ridiculous.
Well, look, Chauvin obviously was wrong, right? But again, when I talk to you about the culture didn't allow those other guys to say, yo, Derek, you want to get off that guy?
Right.
It's been 5 minutes. I don't think that's cool. Yo, Derek, man, just put cuffs on him. Let's put him in the car, man.
Right.
This ain't worth it. Yo, Derek, there's people out here with cell phones, bro. You want to get up off this guy?
Yeah.
The culture did not allow them to do that.
Because we know what happens to the people that say something.
And that's
the
problem.
The thing is, Big Pun, those people were rookies too, so they didn't even get seeped into the cultures after years. It really seeps into you. They're rookies, so if I'm a rookie and this is my first day or first week, and I see this happen, like, come on, really?
They tell you that
that's how quick they're captured. The point I'm making is that's how quick they're captured, even as a rookie. They're captured. Like,
yeah, but look what happened. There was a video. I don't know what city it was. The cop been there for a long time, trying to pepper spray somebody that was handcuffed in the back of a squad car. And then this young female officer was like, yo, chill. And he went and choked her.
Yep. And he got put to the desk duty and versus suspended, no?
He should have been fired on the spot and arrested on the spot for assaulting a cop.
People got to press charges in those cases, and everybody got to press charges against each other. Again, the culture doesn't let you do that.
I mean, some do. Press charges when you got video, when it's obvious like that.
HR? No.
I don't know if you gotta
listen.
The police don't got HR.
Listen, you know what kills me? Let me bring up another thing. You talk about the job place and things you shouldn't do. Listen, if I went to my job, if anybody here went to their job tomorrow and said, "Hey, did you see those guys chasing Muhammad into the elevator? Well, good thing he didn't have a backpack. We're all safe." Now, I dare you to make some comments like that at your job tomorrow and see if somebody doesn't have a conversation with you. So you want to talk about culture? It's not just the police, my friend. No. It's in other places. It's in the highest annals of democracy. You know what I'm saying?
If anyone has any last words, I almost it's 8:53 and I almost forgot. We was having such a great time. I almost forgot about No Calzone. Does anybody have any last words on this?
Let's do No Calzone.
Let's do.
I got a last word.
right, go ahead, Carlito. What's your last one?
Yo, it's gonna get worse in Georgia, and even the cops don't like this law they're trying to put in, where you could have guns in Georgia, and pretty loose, but you still need a permit for like concealed carry, stuff like that. They want to make it. I think they call it constitutional carry, meaning that you don't need no permit for nothing. You do whatever you want, whenever you want, put it wherever you want, with no permit.
Wow.
Even the cops are like, yo, I don't know about that, son.
Yeah, because they could be in danger. But that's like you could get a car, you could buy a car without getting a license.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
That may be a conversation for later to talk a lot about more, but that's just crazy. That's
crazy. There's no calzone.
Carry, boy. Constitutional carry.
Let me know what you guys think of this idea.
Yes.
Maybe we get some people on one side or the other, but here's the idea.
All right.
Should we pick our representatives in the House? Like how we choose jurors? What you guys think about?
Like a voir
So
dire,
let me
like
explain
ask
first of all.
questions?
What you said, B?
So sort of like a voir dire, like when you select jurors for a trial.
Let me get into it. So as of right now, the way we pick jurors, I could get a letter to my house, and I'm one of like 20 people. I got to go to the courthouse, and from there, the lawyers would choose which jurors they want to be on the actual, like, out of the how many it is, 12 or whatever it is. That's when they actually get picked. So I was thinking, what if we choose our House, our Congress members? Even I don't know about the Senate, but let's just focus on the House right now, where you randomly get a letter to your house and it says, hey, you've been eligible to be picked to run for Congress. And then you go to the House and then you have to answer questions on how you feel about
who's voting you in?
Almost like a people's gauntlet kind of thing, where you talk, how do you care about Medicare for all, et cetera, et cetera.
Who's picking?
Go ahead, John.
Who's gonna do the picking? Like who they going on
TV? Anyone who bought the NFT has.
So it's like, how do they choose jurors? I don't know. I don't even know how they choose jurors. They pick you randomly
in a room.
They put you in a room, and depending on the case, the lawyers.
Oh! I'm sorry, John. I mixed up what you was talking about. So you're not talking about who gets the letter to the House. You're talking about once you get into the room.
Yeah.
From there.
How do we?
Okay, so I'm thinking it'll be like a People's Gauntlet, and I know, big pun, you don't know what the People's Gauntlet is. Basically, it's an initiative that I'm working on.
Okay.
Where peoplesgauntlet.com, candidates, they go through 5 different gauntlets, and each gauntlet is about 6 to 10 topics. Wow. So, for example, how do you feel about Medicare for all? Right. How do you feel about universal basic income? Could be a topic. Palestinian versus Israel conflict. What do you think about that? Public banking through the U.S. Postal Service. What do you think about that? So basically, these questions, and who do you pick? It doesn't have to be that. It could be like, okay, once you get the letter and you're eligible, now you go to a website and you let the people know through the website.
All right, so it's still everybody in the district for you. Okay,
correct.
Okay. What if I told you that kind of already happens?
But for the establishment.
Nah, I mean, they do their own recruiting, basically, how many people with money, how much money do you have, and how many friends with money do you have? That's how they do now. But they also send letters to people, be like, hey, you'll be great to run, we need people. It'll be great if you run for this seat.
But like, here would be the difference.
I got letters in my house for that.
Here would be the difference. Oh, you actually got a letter for you
for my wife.
Oh,
they
for
were
your
like,
wife to run?
Yeah.
How did they know her?
I don't know. I mean, I know they could check voting records. Maybe they saw. I mean, they don't know like how they voted, but they know
money.
That is interesting. I did not know that could have happened. So they just randomly send a letter and say, "Hey, we want your wife to run for what?"
Yeah, I mean, they probably did a Google search and found her whole life. You know how they do. Everything's out there nowadays.
It's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Maybe they watch.
What I'm thinking is
political junkies.
Hey, what you said, John?
Why didn't they send it to me?
Maybe no.
They were like,
this guy crazy, but his wife's my guy.
They said, let's put somebody pretty in there, and then you can be in the background.
He's a Hawk fan, but his wife, the one, yes, you hide.
But this is the idea: is that for the most part, you're picking out of the 20 people, and of course, you could drop out, or you can say, "Hey, I prefer to drop out." and let's say it comes down to 5 people, the idea is that hopefully in that district, usually it's somebody who has who's rich, because they have to know how if they look through their address book, the Democratic Party, for example, would say, hey, you need to be able to raise $100,000 straight from your address book, meaning you got to cost everybody you call can donate $1,000. So who could do that? Who got friends, unless you're rich yourself, that you got circles that can raise that amount of money? So if it's like, okay, only in this particular election, these 20 people are going to be eligible to run. Hopefully, if you're picking randomly, these are regular people. And I feel like once some regular people get into office, they're going to vote the right way. And of course, you got to have different regulations. So, for example, the revolving door, you have to have a good law. If you come into Congress, you can't, whatever you vote on, you can't go into that industry when you leave Congress, because that could affect your vote. And you have to have strong regulations. But the idea is, if regular people could get into Congress, then hopefully the will of the people, which hardly happens right now. We have Medicare for all, 70%, all these different things that the will of the people want that we can't get. So what you guys thinking? We got 1 more minute and then we're going to close out the show. I'm going to go around. Bendo, what you think? Yes or no?
No.
John, what you think? Yes or no?
I think you live in the metaverse.
Okay, Izzy, I don't know if Izzy's there. Izzy, if you're there, just jump in. But if you're not, it's all right.
I think because it took longer to explain the concept than it did to debate it, let's scrap it.
All right, Carlito.
I mean, I said it already happened, so whatever.
Big fun.
It's gonna happen in the metaverse.
It can't be any worse than what we have now. Let's try it.
Hey, let's try it in the metaverse. Let's try it in the metaverse and see if it works there. If it works there, you're good to go.
You don't know who's out there. There could be a great budding leader that's just sitting there chilling, and all of a sudden, when no one gave him a shot until somebody said, "Hey, I think that you," because I've seen you at I don't know. At
and
Stop
I tell
and
you
Shop.
what, also the people that are hesitant to do it are probably better, because the ones that thrive to be like president or whatever, they got such a big ego that all they care is about the power and going in there. So you might find better people that are more hesitant, but that means they'll take it more seriously.
But here's a question: if they're stopping legitimate moves like Bernie, what makes you think that this eventually is not going to get stopped? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like I think that it's a game. They've already got the rules, and they've been playing the game for a long time, and everything works. They're not looking to change anything.
Because even ranked choice voting and star voting will help change the way we elect our candidates, but it favors the people. The establishment won't be able to voter shame you and say, "Oh, you have to vote for the lesser of two evils." When you have ranked choice voting, you'd be like, "Okay, I'm going to vote for Bernie." Then Biden could get my second vote or whatever. It could go like that.
And to tell you the truth, it could take a long time, but it could happen, because look where we came from, where only, a handful of rich white men could vote. And then it expanded, and then women, and then kind of sort of people of color.
Little by little, kind of sort of.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we could just get rid of the Senate, and then that would be better.
That's interesting. We might have to get rid of the Senate. That might be a good move.
At the electoral college too, while we at it.
And electoral college. All right, everybody. Much love to y'all. Thank you so much for coming through. My man, Big Pun. We love. You had fun?
I had fun, man. Anytime you want me to come back, I'll come back. Thank you.
Thank you so
You
much.
can join us every Monday if you like. We can replace Gabe. He never.
No, already, Gabe getting replaced.
Fired on the day off. Well, another day off.
How do you get fired on your day off? How do you get fired on your day off?
Yo, let's give some love to the chat. PJ Neat is in the building, and he said, "Let's do voting, Sass." So you talking about star voting? That's what Sass was talking about. Star voting, which he thinks is better than ranked choice voting. But much love to Logan, much love to PJ. Chris is in the building. Holly Horn. Let's see who else is in here. Rafael Rodriguez. Much love to you, my brother. Ware Pilgrim. Much love to you, Sterling W. Much love to you. And I think that's everybody. Thank you so much. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. And shout out to our new latest Patreon, Zachary Boston. And thank you, Nancy Venture, Pedro Hernandez, Deborah B., PJ Chris, and Akibash Akita. Thank you all. Much love. Have a good week. See y'all next Monday. Peace. All right.